Today, we're talking about how to create a marketing budget and how to actually have dollars to put into your marketing budget. Because too often I hear from advisors and attorneys, small business owners, they want to do marketing, but they're not sure whether they can afford it. So, let me give you some places to start here. And I'm going to actually share my screen with you so we can walk through this a little bit together and everything on some ways to help you that I think whether you're in business in any line, that this will be really helpful to you. So let me share my screen. Share screen. Here we go. So this is a framework that we use to we call it our marketing statement of investment, or in essence your budget. This template that you can use to create your marketing budget and start with maybe just what are you spending today. You probably have to give your accountant some things in terms at the end of the year in terms of advertising, lunches, things, client gifts. So you can start here, but it starts at the very beginning at the top here in terms of looking at what your revenue is to get an idea of what an estimated budget would be for your overall marketing goals. So most of the time we recommend, every industry is a little bit different, but I know many of you financial services, we recommend somewhere around that 2 to 5% of gross revenue. Now, depending on if you're really trying to accelerate where you're at in your business, it might fluctuate one side or the other, and where you're already at right now with your cash flow on how comfortable you are with that. And the goal should be that you're driving towards 1.5 to 2 times the return on your investment over a 2 year period of time, because certainly with marketing, it can take some time to see that return, and your marketing efforts work together really to generate that return and should help make other things so much better in your business. So in here, you can pick the certain categories of, is this about understanding your clients? Is it more about nurturing people, creating a great experience? And then put in what your budget is and track, based on those details that you're using to do your quarterly estimated taxes or you're giving to your accountants, how much are you actually spending in those areas? And ideally, then whether it's also going to clients or if it's more going towards new client acquisition, and what kind of return are you getting on that? And I think it's always very interesting when I go through this exercise to look at how much are you putting more towards your existing clients to convert them into advocates and raving fans of your business, versus how much of it is are you putting towards more specific lead generation efforts, and how do you feel about those percentages? So I encourage you to start with this first step here of what's kind of your overall investment that you might be making into your marketing dollars based off of your percent of your revenue. How does that compare to what you're spending maybe right now? Now, the second question I get all the time is, okay, well, let's say I have this. This is great. But then I actually need the real dollars to pay for this, right? Where are those coming from? And I'm operating a business. I've got to pay staff. I've got to, pay for technology. I've got all these things. And obviously, I'm trying to generate business. How do I actually make sure that I have the dollars to support this? So, what I want to share with you is something that I learned from a presentation right when I first started doing business that has been extremely helpful to me, and I think will help you too. So if you haven't heard about Profit First, or there's variations of this, I highly encourage you to, there's a book, there's courses, videos online, to take some time and learn more. If you're actually interested, when the Idea Collective community retreat this fall, the main speaker of that, Mike, is going to be there presenting and talking more about this. And I think it would be really helpful to as many of you in your business. So the way that it works is that each part of your business is broken down into subparts. So just like you might be talking with a client and saying, hey, let's have a vacation fund. Here's your insurance. Here's your investments. Here's your, all these different kind of piles that they're doing of money. It's kind of the same thing for your business. So what we might be starting at is generally we just kind of have an operating fund of dollars, and then maybe some of the money that's being set aside for taxes. This encourages you to get more specific with this so that you actually have money set aside for your marketing dollars, for those things that you want to experiment with maybe too. So one way of thinking about it is certainly is is first and foremost pay yourself, right? It's profit first. We need that profit account. We need to be paying ourselves. You are a business owner and you working hard. So we want to make sure that you start by paying yourself. An R would be, what's that money that's going to be set aside for that rainy day? Just like you have a savings account, that's kind of the essence of it. And there's certain percentages that can be set aside and helpful. You guys all probably get that. So I'm just going to give you the framework of what some of the letters could stand for in this approach. The O, I think of it actually a double O. So one is your operating expenses. And then the other one I would say would be a separate fund for opportunities, strategic investing. Excuse me. I've been talking all morning. Strategic investing that you want to do to accelerate, something that you could split out. And then you kind of have this slush fund of like, hey, something presents itself. I want to try this, or I've always thought about it. You have some specific dollars that are earmarked for those unique opportunities. F is for the future, for maybe your retirement, those things down the line. F and the other F, so it's profit with two O's and two F's. The other F is for fun. It can be lonely and can be hard to be a business owner. So it's important that you have some time in there to maybe for some things that they're just fun opportunities, some fun things that you might want to do. The I is for investments in charitable giving. As business owners, I think we all have our passions, some things that we want to be able to give back to. We want to make a bigger impact on the world. So I love that you can set some aside some specific dollars to be able to do that. And maybe it's even on behalf of some of your clients that you can help with things that are important to them. And then the T, we can't forget about taxes, of course. So think about that in terms of if you were to set aside not just maybe, hey, 20% is going to go to my taxes and then 20% is going to go into operating expenses or whatever that might be, or the rest just goes into operating expenses. Can you do the same thing? You might advise your clients to break it down into some more specific buckets so that you have that opportunities fund, or you have a specific marketing fund that you're putting certain amount of dollars into. So let's say that we use that initial exercise, we go through that percentage of revenue and you come up with that your budget should be, let's say 10 grand, just to make it a nice, easy number, even though I don't do math in my head very well. I'll admit it. But let's say you come up with, okay, based off your percent of revenue, you have 10 grand to use towards your marketing efforts. But I actually need the 10 grand in the bank account to spend towards a marketing consultant, to spend on an advertisement or a sponsorship or a speaking engagement, or to send gifts to my clients. Where do I get my 10 grand? Well, you can set up your monthly revenue to say, I'm going to take X percent of revenue that I make every month, and I'm going to start to put it into that marketing fund. You're not going to have that 10 grand day one, but you're going to build towards that because you don't take it out of that fund. It only is being used for marketing. So we can't steal from Paul to pay Mary. We all know that. But that's how you start to build it and have really that flexibility in your business to be able to invest in things, to be able to be flexible, to take advantage of opportunities that present themselves, and to continue to really grow and give you that freedom that you're not worried at any given time if revenue isn't where you want it to be in one particular month, because you built this back end approach for your finances that gives you a lot of flexibility. I'm so thankful that I learned about this when I first started my business. It's been immensely helpful to me. Now it does take a little bit of setting up on, but that's where an accountant or even yourself, I do most of mine myself. It's not too hard once you get it set up to manage those accounts, and just makes it a little bit easier to make sure that we're making good decisions, strategic decisions for our business as we move forward. So I hope this helps you with thinking about what's your marketing budget and how do you make sure that you can actually fund your marketing budget so you can make the investments in your business that I know you want to, that I know will pay off for you long term. But you might be sitting here today saying, can I do it? Do I have the funds to do it? How much is too much? You can do it. You deserve to be able to keep building the business in the way that you want. You deserve to be able to impact even more lives, and you deserve to take that next step forward in your business. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great week.